Today we're going to be looking at reseating a network cable on a pan-tilt zoom camera, specifically cameras like the 5525 and 5526. This camera is going to be a little bit different than your fixed cameras, so we're going to just show that process a little bit differently here. The first thing is going to be locating the camera, often found inside of a ceiling tile or on a wall. This instance we just have one that's currently pole mounted. If your camera is in the ceiling, there's going to be a ring that you'll have to remove before accessing the camera in this fashion. If it's mounted on the wall, it should look very similar to this. You will need a T20-bit security screwdriver. As well, you could also use an appropriately sized flathead screwdriver. First, let's go ahead and actually remove the dome from the camera. Once the dome is removed, we're just going to place that to the side. The next thing you're going to want to do is find 4 screws on the inner diameter of the camera itself. You're not going to want to remove this outer black plastic ring. It's going to be a part of the actual inner camera. So you might see 8 screws. Just make sure you're looking for the correct ones. While unscrewing the camera, make sure to hold the camera so it doesn't just fall and potentially hit something. But I'm going to remove those screws now. Once your camera's out, you'll notice it's going to be dangling. Now, it's going to be held on with the few of the cables that are currently in the camera. Make sure not to take too much pressure onto those. You will find on the bottom of the camera an area where your Ethernet cable or network cable is currently plugged in. For us, we're just going to remove that cable. You're going to have to push down. And then remember, just make sure to hold the camera so that way not a lot of pressure is applied to the wires. After we wait a minute, we're going to plug the camera back in. When you plug it back in, the camera is going to want to start moving around. So as you're holding the camera, make sure to hold it by the base and not the head. Please note that if you're factory resetting this camera, you will notice that on the back of the device, there's actually a small button that's going to be located kind of behind where the PoE cable sits, but it's actually going to be on the camera mount face itself. So just note that that is there. Once you plug it back in, you're going to start hearing some clicking, and the camera is going to want to start moving around. I recommend waiting for the camera to finish this process before you try mounting it back up again. In this case, my camera is not moving, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it back into its seating here. Like I said, ideally your camera is going to be powering up and moving around. Just avoid holding the head of the camera as it's moving around. But if it is moving around, we know that the camera is getting power. You might see an LED indicator. If it turns green, you know that the camera has connected back to the network. If it's not powered back up, that's also good to know. Just note that for the technician you're working with. And then go ahead and fully put the camera back with all of the screws. Thank you.